There's 1 month left until the wedding, and the invitations for both Willow's and my family have already been sent out. However, what our whole family never expected was that the groom's name wasn't mine, but rather Willow's unrequited first love, Makoto. The Lou family thought we were just nouveau riche with no real standing, whereas the Ito family was wealthy and established. But what they didn't know was that our company has branches overseas, and we only returned to China for vacation. Seeing this, my brother took out a sack and gathered his brothers to teach Willow a lesson. My father, with a cold expression, dialed the phone of the person in charge. My younger sister Alicia, it's getting colder. Let's make the Lou family go bankrupt. My mother took out the marriage certificate that old Mr. Lou had once used to propose, planning to reveal it on the wedding day and make the Lou family the laughingstock of the circle. Meanwhile, I turned to call Willow's aunt and said, "The wedding invitation is ready, but we're still missing a bride. Are you coming?" Chapter 1. The Lou family has sent out their wedding invitations. This morning, my dad happily returned from outside, holding up a bright red, gold-trimmed wedding invitation. My older brother quickly came over to check it out, eager to see the invitation. "Let me see what George's wedding invitation looks like." My mom, with a joyful smile, took the invitation and opened it, but her expression instantly changed. "Old Wong, the name on this invitation isn't George's." "Impossible." My dad was stunned. "If it's not George on the Lou family's invitation, who else could it be? Their wedding was personally arranged by old Mr. Lou." My mom shrugged and unfolded the invitation. "Take a good look. It says Makoto for the groom." "What?" My dad stared at the invitation in shock, his face turning pale. "Has the Lou family gone mad? The wedding is only a month away. How dare they call off the engagement now?" My older brother quickly added, "The Lou family didn't cancel the wedding. They've just replaced the groom, and we're the only ones kept in the dark." Our Wong family had never been so humiliated. Both my dad and older brother were furious and swearing, completely losing their composure. My brother even somehow found an old sack and was planning to give Willow a piece of his mind. Meanwhile, I casually sat on the sofa, not taking it seriously at all. If Willow wasn't good looking, I wouldn't even agree to marry her. If they want to call off the wedding, fine. There's always the next one. The next one will be more obedient. The next one will be better. I pretended to hesitate and looked at my mom, since it was up to her to make a decision. "Mom, the Lou family is clearly calling off the wedding. Why don't we cancel ours too?" My mom expressionlessly took out the marriage certificate written by old Mr. Lou himself. 6 months ago, my dad had saved old Mr. Lou, who was being chased by kidnappers while chopping wood in the mountains. In gratitude, old Mr. Lou insisted on having his granddaughter marry me. This certificate was the proof. Unexpectedly, just a month after old Mr. Lou passed away, the Lou family had openly replaced the groom. My mom shoved the marriage certificate into her pocket and took me to the Lou family's old residence. The old residence of the Lou family, which had just taken down the mourning attire, now displayed red lanterns, preparing for the upcoming wedding in a festive atmosphere. Willow's biological mother was now the head of the old house, and she kept us waiting for 3 hours. Only when my mom's face had completely turned cold did she slowly come over and speak. "The old man just passed away, and Willow is in such a hurry to marry. There's just so much going on. I neglected Madame Wong." Mrs. Lou was wearing an exquisite qipao and a thick, gold chain around her neck. My mom stood up to greet her, but to our surprise, Mrs. Lou didn't even look at us and walked straight to the main seat to sit down. She looked at my mom and me with a flicker of disdain, only to realize that her carefully made-up face couldn't compare to my mom's natural beauty, which was even more striking. A hint of jealousy flashed in her eyes. My mom's face darkened, and she immediately sat down, slamming the invitation onto the table. "I just want to know, what does this invitation from the Lou family mean?" "Oh, so you've seen it. Young Master Ito is the only son of the Ito family, incredibly handsome and extraordinarily talented. He just returned from abroad, and Willow couldn't wait to go to his house to propose." Mrs. Lou avoided answering my mom's question and spoke in a roundabout way. "We look forward to seeing you at the wedding." Our family initially thought there was a mistake with the name on the invitation, but listening to her words, it seemed that the Lou family had deliberately hidden the fact that they replaced the groom from us. My mom's face turned dark, and she slammed the table angrily. "Old Mr. Lou just passed away a month ago, and you, the Lou family, deliberately hid the fact that you replaced the groom. Isn't that a bit too much of an insult to us?" Chapter 2. Mrs. Lou pretended to be surprised as she looked at my mom and said, "I thought you knew. Willow and young Master George's engagement was just a show for the old man. Now that the audience is gone, the show should be over." She cast a mocking glance at me and asked, "Young Master George can't be serious, can he?" "A show?" My mom, who had been preparing to return the marriage certificate to the Lou family, sneered upon hearing this. "If it was a show, why would you propose marriage? Everyone knows that George is Willow's fiancé. Now you've replaced the groom, and our family has become a complete joke." The Lou family's actions were nothing but a slap in the face to the Wong family. And they didn't just slap, they stomped on it too. Why is Madame Wong so anxious? Mrs. Lou said slowly. I know that young Master George admires Willow. I have a way for him to stay by her side. I instantly widened my eyes. What? Since when did I admire Willow? If it weren't for her decent looks and her obedient, well-mannered nature, I wouldn't have agreed to marry her. Mrs. Lou seemed to think that my mom's silence meant consent, and with a smug look, she continued, after Willow marries young Master Ito, they will live abroad. When she returns to the old house, I'll have George stay here with me. He'll accompany Willow when she's back at the old house. It's as if the old man insisted on tying your son's fate to Willow's life. How ridiculous. Even a woman like my mom, who had seen all sorts of things in life, couldn't help but widen her eyes and say, you want my son to be Willow's lover, and then come back to your old house to serve you. The more my mom spoke, the darker her face got. She glared at Mrs. Lou and said, what right do you Lou family members have to act so arrogantly? Willow should take a good look at whether she's worthy of this. It's impossible. There's no way the Wong family, whether male or female, would ever become someone's lover. My dad would definitely deal with the Lou family. Mrs. Lou had only one daughter, and in her eyes, every man must want to marry Willow to climb the Lou family's ladder. When she heard my mom's merciless mockery, the smile on her face faded. The old man did say that Willow would marry George, but George should take a look at himself. What is he? A country nouveau riche who thinks he can marry our Willow? What does he take the Lou family for? I don't know what kind of nonsense you've been feeding the old man, but he insisted on tying Willow's life to his gratitude. How ridiculous. Mrs. Lou pointed at me and coldly sneered at my mom. Apart from his face, what does George have that compares to young Master Ito, a descendant of a prestigious family? To have him serve me and Willow, that's already showing you some respect. Don't be ungrateful. When old Mr. Lou was alive, Mrs. Lou would smile brightly every time she saw my mom, calling her sister and flattering her. But now, once the old man passed away, her ugly face immediately showed itself. Seeing my mom's face turning darker, Mrs. Lou's eyes gleamed with contempt and mockery. In the past, I was giving you face, but now, you're just a country nouveau riche who actually thinks you're something. My mom, shocked, stood up and yelled, this is an absolute insult. Mrs. Lou also flung her sleeve, threatening my mom. Her eyes flashed with malicious intent. What if we are bullying you? What's George worth? What's the Wong family worth? The Lou family is the #1 family in City A. My daughter will be the future head of the Lou family. You'd better prepare to send George over here, otherwise, I'll destroy the entire Wong family. My mom grabbed me and turned to walk out, saying, dream on, my son will never come here to be bullied by you. Just as we were about to leave, I couldn't help but glance back and saw the vicious look in Mrs. Lou's eyes. To please old Mr. Lou, Mrs. Lou had flattered my mom countless times. Now that she was in power, she was clearly planning to take all her resentment out on me. Chapter 3. These Lou people are out of their minds. My mom angrily led me outside, saying, from now on, even if Willow comes to look for you, don't pay any attention to her. Just as we were about to reach the door, we ran into Willow walking toward us. When old Mr. Lou was alive, he often invited my parents and me over to visit, and Willow was always there. She would bring small gifts every time, and as a courtesy, I would also give her some bamboo shoots and mushrooms I had picked from the mountains. It was Willow who had been pursuing me, but when Mrs. Lou spoke, it had turned into me constantly chasing after Willow. Now she had lost her mind and wanted me to be her lover and work like a servant for their family. Willow quickly walked over, stopped us with her hand, and her gaze fell on me. She looked down at me and said, it seems my mom has already spoken to you. From now on, you will stay at the old house and serve my mom. But there's one condition. When Makoto comes back, you mustn't appear in front of him. I was taken aback and quickly stepped back, trying to avoid her sticky gaze, and said, sorry, I've already refused your father's request. Find someone else. Who knew that Willow would take a big step forward and say, Makoto is the only son of the Ito family. He will help me manage the entire Lou family, while you're just the son of a nouveau riche. The fact that I'm allowing you to stay by my side already shows that I like you. Makoto is generous enough to allow me to see you 3 days a month. She said this so confidently, and both my mom and I were stunned. Willow, I quickly interrupted her, saying loudly, I didn't know you had someone else in your heart when I agreed to marry you. Now that the groom has been replaced, our engagement is null and void. Let's part ways without any further entanglements. But Willow frowned and gave me a cold, threatening look. George, throwing a tantrum has its limits. If you refuse today, you never know what might happen to the Wong family tomorrow. Is she out of her mind? She's threatening me. How come I never noticed how incredibly stupid she looks? My mom stood in front of Willow and said, the Lou family's status is not comparable to ours. Don't worry, whoever regrets it will be a fool. My mom shoved Willow aside and walked out, completely ignoring Willow's dark expression. When we got back home, we saw my dad had returned with a gloomy face. "What's wrong with you? What happened? These two have been married for so many years and still have such good tacit understanding." My dad's face was dark as he sneered. "Now there's widespread news about the Lou and Ito families' wedding of the century next month. Everyone is laughing at how George wanted to climb the social ladder, only to end up with nothing." My mom, whose anger had just calmed down, was boiling again. That Willow wants George to be her lover and serve her whole family like a servant. My dad, enraged, rolled up his sleeves and was about to fight, cursing, "That little Lou girl has gone mad. Who does she think she is, trying to make a move on my son?" My older brother, who had been silent the whole time, pulled out his dirty sack and said, "If not, should I go tonight?" My dad slapped my older brother on the head and cursed, "What nonsense are you talking about? Will beating her solve the problem?" My older brother, still unwilling, took out his phone and called a new friend. "Yes, Willow from a city. She's bullying my brother. Get some people, put her in a sack, and beat her up. I'm going to break her legs." My mom sneered. "I originally thought that if the Lou family spoke properly and apologized, we would just return the marriage certificate to them. But who knew that the old lady dared to threaten me? If we don't send George over, she'll destroy our entire family." My dad's body stiffened, and he said, "That bastard. Who do the Lou family think they are?" My older brother hung up the phone with a grim face and said, "The Lou family is spreading rumors, saying they will expel us from a city." Chapter 4. When my dad was abroad, he could summon winds and clouds, but now, in a small city like A, he was being threatened. He was so angry that his hands were shaking. He took out his phone and called Alicia, "Third sister, I don't care what method you use, destroy the Lou family." Alicia calmly listened to my dad's exaggerated description, her voice cold as ice. "I know about the situation. It's getting colder. Let the Lou family go bankrupt." My mom snatched the phone from him and said, "We've been bullied to this extent. Is there anything more important than this? The wedding is a month away, and all the invitations have already been sent out." Alicia's voice remained cold. "Are you planning to personally go and retrieve the invitations?" Both my parents shuddered. The Lou family was not on the same level as ours, but old Mr. Lou was a decent man, and he and my dad had been close friends. Willow wasn't bad either. She was decent looking, and most importantly, she was sensible and well-behaved. Once the wedding date was set, my parents couldn't stop boasting that I was about to get married. After all, no one abroad would dare marry me. Now, if we go back and retrieve the invitations, the faces of those mocking people would be unimaginable. My dad thought about that scene and instantly frowned, saying, "I'm not going." Letting people know that he, the head of the Wong family, had been played by a third-rate small family in his own country. Does he have no pride? "I'll take care of the Lou family. You figure out how to handle this on your own. Otherwise, you all better come back here," Alicia said before hanging up. "My third sister must be mad at us for not taking her back to China," my dad said awkwardly. We had returned to China, but the Wong family couldn't be left without a leader. After voting, we all agreed that Alicia was the most suitable person to be the head of the Wong family. My older brother quietly said from the side, "Since the Lou family can change the groom, we can change the bride." My dad's eyes lit up. "Yes, George, it has to be better than that little Lou girl." I shivered. "Find someone." At that moment, my mom pulled out a stack of photos and said, "Sweetheart, these are all my treasures. Pick one." I looked at the various beautiful women in the photos and couldn't help but twitch my lips, saying, "You've been preparing this for a long time, haven't you? It would really be hard to find someone better than Willow in the short term." My parents thought about everyone they knew, but didn't find anyone suitable. My older brother leaned over and asked, "Have you decided who you want to choose?" I confidently said, "Don't worry about this. Leave it to me." Actually, I wasn't sure if I could succeed, but after thinking about it, she was the only one. So, I sneaked into her room and saw her sitting at the desk, holding a book. The sunlight fell on half of her face, highlighting her flawless features and perfect outline, radiating a faint golden glow. Her beauty was so stunning that any man who saw her would be completely captivated. They say she's like a rare gem in the world, but I think she's more like the bright moon hanging high in the sky, powerful and beautiful. "You keep barging in again and again. Maybe it's time to change the people around me," Anna said without lifting her head. Speaking softly, I unceremoniously sat on the sofa next to her, poured myself a cup of tea, and said, "No matter how many people you change, you can't stop me. Why bother? I have something to talk to you about." Only then did Anna lift her head and look at me, her cold, indifferent eyes revealing no thoughts, only an icy gaze as she asked, "What is it?" But her face made me almost forget the reason I had come. Ahem. I quickly snapped out of my daze and said flatteringly, "Do you know that Willow changed her wedding partner?" Anna looked down at the book in her hands and said, "So, do you want to get her back?" I seriously studied Anna's stunning face and asked, "Anna, do you have time to marry me?" Chapter 5. In an instant, I saw a flash of stars in her eyes, which disappeared the moment I blinked. She finally put down the book in her hand and raised her eyes to look at me. Her dark eyes held an indifferent solitude, as if nothing could ever enter her gaze. I told myself that I must have been mistaken. Anna, the eternal iceberg, surely couldn't have any other emotions in her eyes. I quickly shook my head, clearing the nonsense in my mind, and said, "You know, the Lou family replaced the groom and threatened to drive us out of a city." Anna lowered her gaze and said, "With your abilities, you could easily destroy the Lou family." I hurriedly waved my hands. "What are you talking about? This is China. I'm a law-abiding citizen." "So, your family wants to change the bride?" Anna sneered, glancing at me casually. "Or are you using me to make Willow angry?" I couldn't help but rub my nose and, under her scrutinizing gaze, defended myself. "Of course not. I don't like her." "If you don't like her, why did you agree to marry her?" Anna smiled, but the air around us grew colder. "I just thought she was sensible and obedient, and that she'd be easy to handle. Who knew she'd be this troublesome?" I quickly said loudly, "My family has already sent out the invitations. If we can't find someone to marry by next month, I'll have to personally go back and retrieve the invitations." My voice grew quieter. "Think about it. George, I can't lose face. For some reason, I feared nothing in this world, except my mom. But every time I was in front of Anna, I couldn't help but lower my head." Anna's eyes flickered as she casually fiddled with the pages of her book and said, "What's in it for me? I'll promise you anything you want." My eyes lit up. "And don't worry, this will just be a formality. After everything blows over, we'll announce that we've already divorced. It won't affect you at all. It won't get in the way of you and your future husband." As soon as I finished speaking, the temperature in the room could freeze a person. Anna was angry. I couldn't understand why she was angry. This woman's temper flares up so suddenly. My heart raced as I nervously prepared several excuses in my mind, ready to beg and plead. Then I heard a soft sigh from above. "Go back. I'll handle this matter." Once she agreed, I found myself at a loss, my eyes wide as I asked, "Really?" Anna looked up at me and said, "Aren't you leaving, or do you want to talk about something else?" The atmosphere in the room grew strangely ambiguous, and I suddenly felt a little angry. I stood up abruptly. "Then I'll leave first. Please arrange the fake marriage as soon as possible." I deliberately emphasized the words fake marriage. After speaking, I suddenly felt ridiculous, and walked straight to the door and out of the room. The bodyguards outside stared at me in shock. "George." Anna, sitting at her desk, lifted her eyes and looked at me. "Don't forget, you said you'd agree to anything I want." I glared at her fiercely. I know. As I walked back home, I couldn't help but mutter angrily, "Shameless Anna. Would she agree to a fake marriage with anyone else if they asked? Humph, stupid woman." The first time I met Anna was on a snowy night last year. After finishing my business at the venue, I was about to drive home when she mysteriously appeared in my car. Anna's face was so beautiful that even covered in blood, she was unbelievably stunning. After saving her, I learned she was the newly appointed head of the Sue family. I should have let her die in the snow. Angrily, I walked home, and before I could even reach the house, a shrill scream echoed from ahead. "People like you, nouveau riche, thinking you can climb the social ladder. How shameless to cling to our young lady. Do you even have any shame?" Chapter 6. I quickly walked forward and saw several people blocking the entrance of my house, shouting at the top of their lungs. The older woman at the forefront looked somewhat dignified, but her voice was shrill and grating. "Don't you know what kind of status your family has? Our Lou family is the wealthiest in a city. You think you can marry our future head of the family? Dream on." My mom was cleaning the steps at the door when the woman, with her group, carried a bucket of dirty water and poured it over her. The steps my mom had worked hard to clean were now a mess, and my mom was so shocked that her first instinct was to reach for the gun at her waist. When she realized we were in China, she grabbed the mop instead and swung it toward the old woman, cursing, "If your mouth is filthy, you should wash it properly." The old woman didn't expect my mom to actually take action, so she quickly dodged to the side and yelled, "Isn't what I'm saying true? You've already broken off the engagement, and yet you're still bothering our young lady. How shameless, shameless, shameless." My fists clenched. The last person who dared to insult me like that doesn't even know how tall the grass on their grave is. Neighbors who heard the commotion began to come out to watch the scene. We had only recently bought this villa, moving here from the deep mountains, so we didn't know anyone in the area. The people around us looked at me, whispering among themselves. Their gazes were filled with disdain and contempt. Well, it's clear that this person was sent by the Lou family, specifically to ruin my family's reputation. They want to make my family hated by the people around us, forcing me to compromise and go to the Lou family to beg them, then let them manipulate us. What a wicked scheme. The old woman nimbly dodged my mom's attack, and immediately shouted at the top of her lungs, "Everyone, please help us reason with this. Our young lady is about to get married. Yet this Wong family's son still keeps bothering her. Before, he tricked the old man into giving away the family heirloom. I'm here to get back our Lou family's heirloom, but this family is trying to steal it from us." My mom came from a scholarly family and had never encountered such a vulgar woman before. She was so furious that her hands were trembling. Seeing that she had someone supporting her, the old woman grew even more venomous, saying, "Everyone knows our young lady's heart belongs to young Master Ito. He's a top-tier talent who returned after studying abroad. Your Wong family's son isn't even worthy of being compared to his pinky." "What's this heirloom you're talking about?" I asked coldly. Standing behind my mom, the old woman saw me and immediately pointed at me, shouting, "I'm talking about young Master George." The old lady said that if you return the heirloom, she won't pursue the matter of deceiving the old man. I shot her a cold glance, and the old woman, startled, instinctively took a step back. I scanned the crowd of onlookers and said, "You keep saying my family is occupying your Lou family's heirloom. Then tell me, what is this so-called heirloom? If you can't answer, I'll call the police for defamation." "I'm not defaming you." The old woman panicked when she heard the mention of the police. "At the beginning, you were pestering our young lady, insisting on marrying her. You tricked the old man into giving you an emerald pendant as a token of engagement. That's the heirloom of the Lou family." When old Mr. Lou sent the marriage certificate, he did indeed send along an emerald pendant. It was so cheap that I casually tossed it aside. My older brother searched for it for a long time and finally found the pendant in a corner, with a thick layer of dust on the box. I took the box, opened it, and held up the pendant in front of everyone, asking, "Is this it?" Chapter 7. Yes, this is it. Madam showed me a photo of it. She even said, "You're the ones who took our Lou family's heirloom." Seeing this, the old woman immediately tried to grab the box. I quickly sidestepped and then, in front of everyone, displayed the jade pendant. It's just a plain jade pendant with icy floral patterns, worth a little over $1 million. This heirloom sure is cheap. Laughter erupted around us. Who didn't know that the Lou family was the wealthiest in a city? Calling this thing an heirloom was an insult to everyone's intelligence. I shoved the jade pendant back into the box and tossed it to the old woman, saying, "Your Lou family's worthless stuff. I'm not interested." The old woman's face turned red, and she fumbled to catch the box. "What do you know? This was given to my future grandson-in-law by the old lady. You're just a brat. You don't understand its value." After being insulted again and again, my mom couldn't take it anymore and raised the mop. "Son, don't be afraid. Watch me tear this old woman's filthy mouth apart." I quickly reached out to stop my mom, and said slowly, "Mom, they came to demand things. Of course, they should return everything without exception." My mom immediately understood and rummaged through the house to pull out the marriage certificate we were supposed to return to the Lou family. I casually picked an onlooker, an older woman, and handed the marriage certificate to her, saying, "Auntie, why don't you read this out loud for everyone to hear, and see how I've been chasing after the Lou family?" The older woman, eager for gossip, took the marriage certificate and read aloud, "I, Diego Lou, on behalf of my granddaughter Willow Lou, request to marry Wong family's second son George." Oh my God, this is old Mr. Lou's handwritten marriage request. This is a marriage certificate. Did you hear that? I sneered, looking at the now pale-faced woman. "The marriage certificate, personally written by your family's old man, says request to marry me, George. It's a request. This marriage was something old Mr. Lou requested for. Our Wong family has never chased after the Lou family." The older woman reading the certificate looked at the old woman sarcastically and said, "Old Mr. Lou just passed away a month ago, and now your Lou family turns its back, replacing the groom. And now you're bringing a worthless jade pendant to slander this young man's reputation. Without old Mr. Lou, the Lou family is falling apart." "Huh?" Whispers filled the air, with all eyes pointing at the old woman. "You don't know anything." The old woman waved her hand, stubbornly denying it. "He's just a son of a nouveau riche. Who knows what kind of magic they fed the old man, making him listen to them." "Magic?" I raised my eyebrows. This was just half a year ago. Do you really think everyone's memory is that short? When old Mr. Lou was kidnapped and the kidnappers demanded $1 billion in ransom, your Mrs. Lou, pretending to be poor, waited for the kidnappers to kill him, hoping to help her daughter inherit the family business. Gasps of shock rippled through the crowd as they decided to stay and listen for more juicy gossip for the next gathering. "You're lying." The old woman trembled. "Lying?" I scoffed. "If it weren't for old Mr. Lou's courage and wisdom, daring to jump off the car and hiding in our family's back mountains, he would have been dead long ago. Didn't the person you sent tell you? When my dad rescued old Mr. Lou from the mountains, he had broken ribs and could barely breathe from hunger. Mrs. Lou kneeled by his bed for 3 whole days to earn his forgiveness. You're turning our life-saving grace into deception, Lou family. You have no shame. The ferocity of my expression made her tremble, and she pointed at me, shaking. You're such a vicious man. You don't know anything about being virtuous, respectful to elders, or loving children. Who would want to marry someone like you? I would. Chapter 8. Before I could respond, a cold voice rang out from outside. The onlookers quickly stepped aside, and the driver pushed Anna, who was sitting in a wheelchair, into the room. I raised an eyebrow. Had she been following me the whole time? She took a step back in shock and said, "Miss, what are you doing here?" Miss. 3 question marks appeared above my head, and for a moment, I was at a loss. I apologize for the actions of the ungrateful people in the Lou family. I wonder if I, Anna, could fulfill this marriage contract on their behalf. Anna calmly looked at my parents. Miss, he's just the son of a nouveau riche. How could he possibly be worthy of you? Miss. The old woman trembled even more, unable to even look at the person in the wheelchair. Aunt Wu. I don't remember the Lou family's heirloom turning into a jade pendant with floral patterns. Anna's voice was soft, but the old woman immediately collapsed to the ground, her face turning ashen. With a swoosh, another car pulled up outside the crowd, and Anna Su's assistant got out, holding a gift list and squeezing through the crowd. Apologies. President Su's instructions came very suddenly. I only managed to bring this item out, and the rest are still being organized. The assistant opened the black box in his hands, revealing a bright green jade receptor. The closest aunt screamed in surprise. Isn't this the jade old Mr. Lou bought for $100 million? It is indeed the jade my father bought, the largest piece, carved into this green receptor. Anna's gaze fell on the jade rui. This is my Lou family's heirloom. I'm using it to propose to George from the Wong family. At this moment, the assistant unfolded the gift list and loudly read it out. 10 villas at Lakeside Bay, 20 storefronts on New Street, a ranch at South Bay, a golf course at North Sea, a plot of land in the west suburbs, villas, shops, land, countless jewelry. The old woman felt like the box in her hands was a hot potato. This gift list could buy tens of thousands of those cheap jade pendants. Not to mention the priceless imperial green jade rui. She knew that the stone that produced the imperial green jade had several other raw pieces, and even the leftover pieces embedded in jewelry were worth a fortune. There were continuous gasps of amazement from the crowd. The old woman felt her face burn with shame, but she couldn't dare look at Anna. I slowly widened my eyes. If this was an act, no one had said it would be this convincing. Could it be that Anna was laying out the entire family fortune? The assistant finished reading the list in one breath. Barely able to suppress his hoarse voice, he cleared his throat and said, "There wasn't enough time. This is just a temporary list of gifts we've managed to organize. President Su values young Master George greatly, and another part of the gifts is still being sorted." The crowd gasped. This was enough to make anyone drool. How much more was there to come? Anna, sitting in her wheelchair, seemed to be towering over everyone. Anna truly proposes to George, willing to be his lifelong partner. One heart, one soul, and never to waver. No. The old woman jumped up suddenly. You are the old man's daughter. By seniority, he should call you aunt. You can't marry him. My dad's face darkened. Lou and I are friends, close like brothers. Why should my son call his daughter aunt? After saying that, my dad shot me a fierce look, then turned to Anna with a neutral expression. Everyone, come inside. Chapter 9. My dad stared at Anna with a neutral expression. Thank you, Miss Su, for stepping in today. As for the proposal, let's consider it settled. Anna seemed to have anticipated that my dad would refuse, and instead, she passed the ball to me. Mr. Wong, perhaps you should ask George. His opinion is the most important, isn't it? I was sweating nervously, feeling like my dad's breathing had gotten heavier. My mom poked him, and only then did he coldly sneer. In the end, you're still a member of the Lou family. No matter how sweet your words are now, it's hard to say if one day you won't betray us. I'm willing. I interrupted my dad. Dad, I'm willing to marry her. In an instant, my dad's face turned the same color as a 1,000-year-old pot-bottom grime. In the end, my parents took Anna into the study, telling my older brother to stay outside and watch me, making sure I didn't eavesdrop. My parents clearly thought I would eavesdrop, but I'm not like that. I sat in the living room, straining my ears to listen. My older brother, with a mischievous grin, leaned in and said, "George, you're something. Rejected by your fiancée, and now her aunt's coming to propose to you. Cut it out." I pushed my older brother away. Her last name is Su. How would I know her relationship with Willow? This was the truth. I only knew she took her mother's surname, not her father's surname, which was Lou. But thinking about the fact that after marrying her, Willow would have to call me uncle, a smug feeling rose in my heart. My older brother squeezed in next to me, saying, "She's Anna. How do you know her?" Seeing that I wasn't answering, he went on talking to himself. "She's perfect in every way. Great family. Beautiful, just a little worse than me. It's a shame about her legs, though. 6 months ago, when she hid in my car, she had serious external injuries, and she had been in the snow for a long time. The blood on her wounds had frozen. I've always been fond of beautiful things, so I dragged her into the car and was going to take her to the hospital. But Anna suddenly woke up and refused to go to the hospital, even trying to open the door and jump out. In the end, I took her to my house and called the family doctor to check on her. Unfortunately, by the time we discovered it, she had already lost sensation in her legs. I rolled my eyes at my older brother. Enough. What do you think Mom and Dad will say? Paying money to make her leave you? My older brother tilted his head and thought for a moment. No, Dad would really do that. But the Su family isn't worse than ours. I wonder if Dad would offer half of the Wong family. Would they even be interested? My older brother suddenly stopped and eyed me up and down. George, you didn't get physical with her, right? Buffed. I sprayed my tea out, my eyes darting around nervously. Older brother, am I that kind of person? You are. Ever since she showed up, your eyes haven't left her face. My older brother looked at me with disgust. I couldn't help feeling guilty, but it wasn't my fault. If Anna didn't have that face, I would have just dragged her out of the car and left her to her fate. After a while, my mom walked out with an air of fury, and I froze. I just knew I was in for trouble. Sure enough, my mom grabbed the broom next to her and swung it at me. My older brother rushed over and grabbed her legs. Mom, let's talk this through. He's just made the mistake that every man makes. Of course, my mom couldn't bear to hit me. When my older brother shouted, she lowered the broom. You always protect him. Do you know what he's done? Ever since he was young, every time something happens, you two shield him. Wait until he gets married. Let's see who'll protect him then. Chapter 10. Mom, it's not that serious, right? My older brother looked at my mom in shock. It's just a little romance. My mom sneered. He's already been to her bed. It's too late to say anything now. My older brother, expressionless, stepped aside. Go ahead. He definitely needs to be taught a lesson. I shouted loudly. That's not true. I was just really tired that day and forgot someone was in the house. It was a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? My mom sneered. Now she's come to your door and wants you to take responsibility. What are you going to do about it? I had cast the actor, so now I had to make sure the performance was done, even if it meant crying. I said with a righteous expression. Well, I'll just go along with it and take responsibility for her. Not just going along with it. My dad walked out of the study, just in time to hear my words. His face instantly darkened. My son, the Wong family, doesn't need to settle for anything, as long as you don't want to marry her. No one can force you. My older brother, coolly watching from the side, added, even if you never marry, the Wong family can still support you. Seeing my dad and older brother treating Anna like a delinquent, I quickly said loudly, I'm willing. It's not just going along with it. My mom sneered, dropped the broom in her hand, and gave my dad a cold look. You can't see it, but their hearts have already flown together. With that, my mom turned to Anna and said, stay and have a meal with us. Okay, Anna responded softly. Was it just my illusion, or had her temper improved so much? The meal was intense. My dad and older brother were doing their best to toast Anna. Not drinking was considered disrespectful to the future father-in-law and older brother. Meanwhile, while pouring wine, my mom dug up some of Anna's family secrets. For example, the unconventional love affair between Anna's mother and old Mr. Lou. You see, the Su family's influence abroad could shake the ground with a single stamp. Unlike our family, who started from scratch, their family had produced city lords in the past and was a well-established family. Back then, Anna's mother was framed by her own family and ended up stranded in the country. Old Mr. Lou saved her, but she lost her memory. Old Mr. Lou had lost his wife early and only had one son. Willow's father, Anna's mother and old Mr. Lou, defying the age gap, fell in love and had Anna. But Willow's father was worried that Anna would compete with her for the inheritance. So when old Mr. Lou went abroad for work, he took drastic measures against Sue's mother and Anna. When the Su family found Anna's mother, she had already passed away. So they took Anna and changed her surname to her mother's. This matter was known only to a very few, and out of respect for the Su family, no one ever spread it. Suddenly, my dad slammed his chopsticks down on the table and said with an icy expression, a family like yours is too dangerous. George has been raised under my protection. He won't be able to handle the intrigues of your family. My older brother couldn't help but roll his eyes, muttering under his breath, he's lucky if he's not bullying others. My mom's gaze also grew a little hesitant. If I suffer at the Su family, will they be able to back me up? Uncle, aunt, don't worry. The Su family today is a one-man show, Anna said faintly. I was a little surprised. Just a year ago, she almost lost her life, and now everything is cleared up. Anna solemnly assured my parents. After George and I get married, he will be the head of the Sioux family. Just like me, he will be my only husband. I swear to the heavens, I will love only him for my entire life. Chapter 11. I turned to look at Anna, a wave of indescribable feelings stirring in my heart because of her words. She was acting too convincingly. My older brother, curious, looked at Anna and asked, "How did you and George meet? For him to want to marry you so badly, you must have some impressive skills." My dad's dangerous gaze shifted to Anna, his expression like someone who thought she might be a human trafficker trying to kidnap his son. I feared that if they kept questioning, I'd slip up, so I quickly gave them a full and vivid explanation, leaving out only the part about me asking Anna for a fake marriage. I didn't dare mention it, worried that my legs might get broken if I did. My dad's face alternated between green and red as he gritted his teeth and downed a glass of wine, glaring at Anna fiercely. "If you've liked him this long, why didn't you show up sooner? You let him be humiliated by those people." Anna's gaze fell on me as she said, "At that time, the Sioux family was facing internal and external troubles, with countless people wanting to take my life. How could I drag George into this mess?" When Anna spoke my name, it sounded full of longing. When I cleared away the dangers, he had already agreed to another marriage. I thought he liked her, so I thought it would be enough to just watch from a distance. I didn't expect they would treat him like this, so I came. Anna solemnly swore, "Uncle, aunt, rest assured, my life was saved by George. I'm willing to give him everything. For this life, I will never betray him." I looked into her dark eyes, as if I saw infinite affection reflected within them. In that moment, my heart fluttered slightly. My dad's face grew darker, but my mom's expression became more and more satisfied. Anna truly was the perfect wife candidate, beautiful, wealthy, and most importantly, she seemed so deeply in love with me. Compared to Willow, one was like the moon in the sky, the other like dust on the ground. By the end of the meal, this matter was settled, and my clothes were already soaked in sweat. If they kept asking, I'd actually believe that Anna truly loved me. After the meal, my mom insisted that I drive Anna home, calling it a chance to nurture our relationship. As soon as I got into the car, I slumped my shoulders. That meal probably shaved 3 years off my life. I turned to Anna, who was slightly tipsy. "This is the first time I've seen you drink so much." Anna lifted her gaze slightly, her face tinged with a hint of warmth from the alcohol. "I'm happy today." My gaze dropped to her legs as I asked, "Have you had them checked again?" Anna whispered, "I've been looking at them all along." That meant there was no improvement. I glanced at her legs and waist with a touch of pity. Such a stunning woman. It was truly a shame. Curiously, I asked Anna, "What exactly did my parents say to you?" Anna's eyes seemed to melt like an iceberg turning into spring water, and she spoke. "Your mother asked me how much I love you." I blinked in surprise and asked, "What did you say?" Anna didn't answer but instead turned to look outside. I followed her gaze. The moon was unusually bright tonight, and a breeze brought the coolness of the night. As I inhaled the smell of alcohol from Anna, I too felt a little tipsy. Just as Anna opened the car window to get some fresh air, a van sped up and blocked our car. A few burly men wearing masks got out, holding steel pipes. Chapter 12. The intensity of their approach sobered me up instantly. I looked at Anna in shock. "Is this aimed at you?" Anna slightly squinted her eyes, tapping her finger lightly on her knee as she said, "Maybe it's aimed at you. I haven't done anything immoral. Why would this be aimed at me?" I shouted, stepping out of the car. "Who are you people?" They didn't answer. Instead, one of the burly men raised the steel pipe and swung it fiercely at my shoulder. I dodged to the side, and the steel pipe slammed into my car, leaving a dent in my beloved little golden car, adding a 10-centimeter long gouge. My smile faded slightly as I looked at the masked men surrounding me. "I tried talking to you nicely, but now you're not listening." One of the masked men swung the steel pipe again and shattered the right side mirror of my car. My face immediately turned cold. "My car is expensive. Can you afford the repair costs?" As soon as the words left my mouth, one of the masked men raised the steel pipe and smashed it against my windshield. With a loud crash, the windshield cracked in a spiderweb pattern. The men burst out laughing, seemingly mocking me. Thinking I couldn't do anything about it, they waved their steel pipes around, trying to intimidate me, but I smirked and walked over. I kicked one of them and shouted, "Don't you fucking understand me? I've told you my car is expensive. Kneel down and apologize to my little golden car." By the time Anna's assistant and his team arrived, the masked men's hoods were nowhere to be seen. One by one, they were kneeling on the ground, their heads swollen like pigs, fervently apologizing to my little golden car, repeatedly saying they were sorry. "Master George," the assistant paused for a moment, looking at me standing with the steel pipe in hand, before he said with some difficulty, "Leave the rest to me." "All right, just make sure they fix my little golden car." I tossed the steel pipe aside, returning to my gentle demeanor. The assistant ordered the men to be dragged away and helped Anna into the car. because my car had been damaged. Anna was worried that I might encounter such people again and insisted on driving me home. When my parents saw that I had been sent back again, they were puzzled. After hearing the assistant's explanation, they fell silent for a long time. My dad coldly said, "Even if the person George likes doesn't come from a powerful background, they must be someone who won't hold him back, not someone who can only sit in a car and wait for him to rescue them when danger strikes." Those words seemed to pierce Anna's heart. No matter how powerful her background was, it didn't matter if, when those people were swinging steel pipes at me, she could only helplessly sit in the car, anxiously waiting for me to knock them down. I wanted to speak up for her, but my mom pulled me into the house. As the door closed, I heard my dad coldly say, "If your surroundings are always this dangerous, and you can't even protect yourself, I won't allow George to marry you." The last thing I saw was Anna, with her head bowed, silent. "Dad." I carefully looked at my dad's dark expression. I had never seen him look this serious before. "She didn't mean to hurt her legs. Don't you think you're hurting her self-esteem by saying this? Once children grow up, they can't be kept anymore." My mom sneered from the side. Ignoring me, they both returned to their rooms to sleep. I could only awkwardly head back to my own room. Under the helpless gaze of my older brother, I planned to wait until tomorrow, after my parents had cooled down, to try and talk to them and speak well of Anna. Chapter 13. The next morning when I woke up, my parents weren't home, but it wasn't until my older brother stopped me the third time I tried to leave that I realized I had been grounded by my parents. They even sent my older brother to watch me, afraid I'd sneak out to find Anna. It was those people who smashed my little golden car first, and I was only fighting back. Why should I be grounded? An entire week passed, and no matter what methods I tried, I never even made it out the front door, and Anna didn't come to see me once. Could it be that she's having second thoughts and no longer plans on going through with the fake marriage? According to my older brother's exaggerated description, Anna had sent all the masked men to the police station and made sure the people there took good care of them. She even tracked down the mastermind behind the group. It turned out the local bully, who Anna had met when she returned to China, had planned to teach her a lesson, wanting her to stay low. But, of course, she met me. Furious, Anna swallowed up that entire family. And that's when people truly started to notice Miss Sue's powerful capabilities. With the added drama of the Lou family's cancelled engagement and new marriage, this week had been one gossip fest after another. I laid in bed with a broken heart, planning to protest by starving myself. "Are you really not eating?" My mom walked in. She and my dad had been hiding from me for the entire week, knowing they couldn't resist my sweet talk. "Mom, I really know I was wrong. I'll become a monk if I have to. Just please don't keep me grounded any longer. I'm going crazy." I truly couldn't stand it anymore. Staying locked up in my room for a whole week was unbearable. My mom couldn't help but roll her eyes at me. "Look at you. Your dad's angry, and you won't even try to calm him down." I gave my mom a flattering shoulder rub. "Well, you and dad need to give me a chance. Seriously, what's Anna compared to you two? No one loves me like you do." My mom was pleased with my flattery and nodded in satisfaction. "Today, the Lou family sent us an invitation to attend their dinner party tonight." I raised an eyebrow in surprise. "Willow still has the nerve to invite us. Doesn't she worry we'll ruin the event?" The situation had been very tense recently. In order to salvage their reputation, the Lou family decided to host a dinner party at their old residence to clear Makoto's name and introduce him to everyone. This was Makoto's first party since returning from studying abroad, and it was organized by the #1 family in a city, the Lou family. Almost everyone who was anyone was there. Makoto wore a white suit with a jade pendant featuring the same floral patterns, exactly the Lou family heirloom he had taken from me. Holding a wine glass in his hand, he basked in the spotlight, proudly accepting the flattery of the wealthy second-generation heirs. When my mom and I entered, all eyes turned toward us. I tilted my head and looked at my mom, asking, "What's with all these people?" My mom glanced at my suit and said, "This suit was airlifted here by Anna to make up for everything. It's custom made by the W family's chief designer. I hear this old designer hasn't personally made clothes in years. You can't buy it even if you had the money." I just thought the suit looked good, and I had no idea it was so expensive. As the dinner began, my mom disappeared, probably off enjoying herself somewhere. I hadn't eaten all day, and my stomach was growling, so I headed straight to the food table to fill up. Of course, some people always come to bother you when you're in a good mood. Makoto, holding a wine glass, walked over and said, "Master George, I'm truly sorry. Willow and I are genuinely in love, but I didn't know she would hurt you for me." Chapter 14. When Makoto saw my suit, a flash of jealousy crossed his eyes. He looked at me with a pitiful expression and said, "I'm truly sorry. I can compensate you. Whatever you want, I'll make it up to you." The surrounding eyes immediately turned toward me, and whispers began. "How did he get invited to the Lou family's banquet? Isn't he trying to hit on Miss Lou?" Miss Lou already has young Master Wong. How could she look at him? A nouveau riche like him is just trying to climb the social ladder. You'd better watch your women. He might steal them from you. Buffed. He dares. Let me break his third leg. I impatiently dug in my ear. Who knows why Willow sent us an invitation? But our family hasn't done anything wrong. If we don't come, it'll seem like we're afraid of her. So we all showed up. However, I wasn't here to be bullied. I raised my wine glass to Makoto and said, "No need for compensation. In fact, I should thank you." Makoto was taken aback. My unpredictable response caught him off guard. He instinctively asked, "Thank me for what?" "Thank you for showing up, so I could see that Willow is a deceitful, ungrateful woman who turns on people faster than flipping a book. But I advise you to break up with her soon, or you never know when she'll do the same to you." "How can you say that?" One of Makoto's friends immediately yelled at me in displeasure. "Makoto is trying to make up for what happened, and you're advising him to break up with his fiancée before the wedding. How vicious of you. No wonder Miss Lou doesn't like you." I raised an eyebrow and lifted my wine glass, saying, "Yes, yes, I wholeheartedly wish for you to experience what it feels like when your fiancé changes the groom without telling you a month before the wedding." He opened his mouth, unable to say a word, and just stared at me. This whole thing was Lou family's fault, especially with the marriage certificate staring them in the face. "I'm sorry, I really didn't know Willow didn't tell you." Makoto, seeing more people gathering around, immediately apologized sincerely. "If you're angry, we can annul the engagement until you forgive us." "No need." I quickly waved my hand. "You two should absolutely stay together. As long as you can forgive me, forgive Willow. I'll even kneel down to apologize if I must." Makoto suddenly shouted with tears in his eyes, ready to kneel before me in his distress. "Makoto." Before Makoto's knees even bent, he was pulled into someone's arms. "Makoto, this isn't your fault. You don't have to apologize to him," Willow said, holding Makoto tightly. Her eyes filled with love and concern. "Willow, I just want young Master George to forgive me. I hope to receive his blessing." Makoto, looking wronged, collapsed into Willow's arms, making her heart ache for him. "George, if you have a problem, take it out on me." Willow stood in front of Makoto, shielding him. "Makoto is innocent. Even without him, I wouldn't marry you." I looked at her stern expression and chuckled, deliberately lowering my voice, asking, "Willow, didn't you get the marriage certificate?" "What?" Willow didn't hear clearly. I clicked my tongue and, with a mischievous grin, shouted. I said, "Didn't you get the marriage certificate?" By this time, half of the banquet was watching us for the gossip. Willow's face twisted in embarrassment, and now she lowered her voice. "George, lower your voice." "What? I can't hear you." I raised my voice. "I told your servant to return the marriage certificate and your worthless family heirloom to you. Didn't she tell you?" "I, George, have called off the engagement. I don't want you anymore." Chapter 15. Gasps echoed around the room. Willow's face turned pale with anger. "Stop talking. Just shut up." Back then, my dad was just being a good person, carrying the nearly starving old Mr. Lou to the hospital and even covering his medical bills. This small favor didn't deserve old Mr. Lou to personally ask for your hand in marriage. "Shut up, George. Please stop talking." Willow panicked, but in such a public place, she didn't dare cover my mouth. I smiled gently at Willow, and she relaxed a bit. Then I raised my voice and shouted, "I've already called off the engagement. How could I go to your house to serve your mother and you? The Wong family's bloodline is sacred. I won't tolerate this kind of humiliation." "How could the Lou family do such a thing? He's just lying." My God, has the Lou family gone mad? They called off the engagement and got a new groom, yet still insult the men like this. Is the marriage certificate real? I was there that day. I saw the marriage certificate with my own eyes. It was indeed written by old Mr. Lou himself. This is unbelievable. The Lou family has no shame. They called off the engagement but can't let the men go. The whispers grew louder and more frequent, and Willow and Makoto's faces grew more and more unpleasant. Finally, unable to endure any longer, the two of them had no choice but to flee in embarrassment. Before they left, Willow shot me a fierce glare. I returned the glare just as fiercely. People like her should never be allowed to hold their head high. With that, I became the center of attention, and no one dared to disturb me for the rest of the evening. I happily ate my fill. Just as I clapped my hands and prepared to go find my parents to head home, a servant bumped into me. Red wine spilled onto my clothes, ruining my newly worn custom suit. "I'm so sorry. I truly didn't mean it." The servant was shaking with fear. "I'll pay for the dry cleaning." "How could you be so careless?" Mrs. Lou appeared at that moment and glared at me fiercely. "Why aren't you taking the guest to clean up? Get him a new outfit." "No need. I've eaten enough. I'm ready to go home." I patted my clothes and smiled at Mrs. Lou. Letting the guest leave in dirty clothes is too rude. Mrs. Lou's face darkened. "Are you trying to embarrass the Lou family on purpose?" "Guest, Please follow me." The servant trembled. "There's a change room with spare clothes." She looked at me with pleading eyes, her hands trembling from the wounds on them. If I didn't go with her to deal with the clothes, Mrs. Lou might direct her anger at her, affecting her job. "Then I'll bother you." I gave her a reassuring smile, and she looked at me with grateful eyes. "Master George, this way please. The changing room is this way." The servant led me forward. Halfway there, I realized this clearly wasn't the way to the guest rooms. When old Mr. Lou was still alive, I often accompanied my parents to the Lou family's old residence, and I'd never made a mistake on these paths. I pretended to know nothing and followed the servant to the farthest corner of the first floor, to a guest room. "Master George, you can rest here. Call me if you need anything." The servant bowed her head and closed the door. Only then did I start to take in my surroundings. The room's windows were tightly shut, the curtains drawn tightly, and the lights were dimmed to their lowest setting. The air was filled with a flowery fragrance, which gave me a headache. The door was closed, and the handle wouldn't budge. It seemed like they had prepared everything in advance. "George, you're here." A voice suddenly came from behind me. Chapter 16. Willow walked out of the bedroom wearing a bathrobe, her chest exposed with a large view of spring, and the scent of alcohol wafted from her. I was immediately stunned by the scene. How much did she drink to smell like this? I cautiously asked, "Willow, what are you trying to do?" Willow's gaze swept up and down me, her eyes full of undisguised lust. "Doesn't George know what I want?" I dodged Willow's advance, keeping a 3-meter distance between us. "I thought you weren't this shameless." Willow laughed arrogantly. "George, you were always supposed to be my man. How dare Anna, that bastard, try to take what's mine?" I frowned and asked, "Does Makoto know about this?" "Makoto is very generous. He doesn't mind me having other men." Willow lunged at me again. I dodged her leap once more, saying, "You and Makoto are truly a match made in heaven. George, my marriage to him is just a business arrangement. After all, the Wong family has never been of any help to me, but I love you." Willow's eyes glowed with a red light, filled with determination. "Don't worry, I will treat you well in the future. Anna is just a cripple. What right does she have to compete with me for a man? Can she make you happy? George, I know you've always liked me." The annulment and agreeing to marry that bastard were all to piss me off. The thought of conquest made Willow's drunkenness take over, and she became more daring and bold with her words. Unable to suppress the sense of triumph in her eyes, she said, "Although I can't marry you, you've always had a place in my heart. Don't worry, once I get rid of Anna, that bastard, and take control of the Lou family, I'll bring you by my side and be with you day and night." How stupid could she be to think she could kill Anna? And how could I ever think this fool was obedient and sensible? As I pondered, Willow suddenly grabbed my hand. I was startled and immediately shoved away the thought that had just emerged in my mind, shaking my hand violently. "Damn, I'm tainted." Willow immediately showed an obsessed look. "George, good George, come let me kiss you." She lunged again, and I dodged, making our chase continue around the room. It's all that old bastard's fault. He actually thought I wasn't worthy to be the head of the Lou family, trying to hand it over to Anna, that bastard. But now, I'm the head of the Lou family, and he's dead. Now the entire Lou family is mine, and you're mine. The air grew even more decadent, and Willow's words became even more reckless, making my heart tremble. The implications of her words were huge. If what she said was true, then Willow's conscience was truly eaten by a dog. Old Mr. Lou was indeed worthless. Just as I was thinking about how to leave unnoticed, I suddenly felt a tremor in my body, and I became a little dizzy. Then I realized that the pungent floral scent in the room had something dirty added to it. Seeing the drug take effect, Willow laughed maniacally. Her earlier pretended affection was just a delay tactic. Finally realizing, it's too late. I've already had someone add something to the incense that will make you obedient. "George, you're my man. How dare you get engaged to another woman behind my back? I'll make you cry and beg me to love you. As long as you behave and offer me the entire Wong family, I'll love you well." Willow's eyes flickered with eager heat. She was also tormented by the incense and, in a fit of madness, ripped off her bathrobe, and shamelessly lunged at me again. In her eyes, I had become something for her to control. I swiftly rolled over, kicked her in the abdomen, and said, "I really gave you face." Chapter 17. Willow fell to the ground and didn't get up for a long time. The pain made her mind clear for a moment. "How are you so strong? How did old Mr. Lou raise this filthy thing?" I grabbed Willow's head and slammed it hard into the ground, stunning her. She finally remembered to fight back, but I held her down firmly. No matter how much she struggled, she couldn't escape. I yanked her hair and slammed her head into the ground a few more times, hearing her crying out in pain. Only then did I calm my murderous intent. If this weren't in my home country, someone like Willow would have been dragged out and fed to wolves by now. I disgustedly shook my hand and looked at Willow, who was clutching her nose and wailing, "Are you even human? Is that your grandfather?" But Willow, drugged out of her mind, lost her reason again. Good George, come kiss me, I'll make you the legitimate wife. Shut up. Unable to stop myself, I grabbed her head again and slammed it viciously into the ground. With a snap, her nasal bone broke, and she collapsed to the ground, twitching uncontrollably. I felt a bit of relief after that. Although Willow was dealt with, I was still unstable, feeling heat coursing through my body. I couldn't stay here any longer. The front door was locked from the outside, so I groggily pried open the window at the back and climbed out. Fortunately, it was the first floor. Otherwise, I might have broken my legs. It was eerily quiet around me. It seemed Willow had cleared everyone out. That made it easier for me to escape. I hadn't gone far when I felt myself getting dizzier. Fearing I might faint on the road and be picked up by someone, I found a small yard and climbed over. Who? A sharp shout came from inside, sounding a bit familiar. A strong killing intent hit me, sending chills down my spine, briefly snapping me out of my daze. I saw Anna sitting in the yard and weakly called out, "Anna." The killing intent faded, and Anna rolled her wheelchair over to me. "George, how did you end up here?" Before she could finish, I lunged at her, sitting on the wheelchair and wrapping myself around her tightly. "Anna, help me." I grabbed Anna's collar and immediately kissed her. At this moment, my mind was completely clouded. The drug Willow had used on me made me feel unbearably hot, like I was about to lose control. Anna froze for a moment, her eyes full of restraint as she looked at me. "George, do you know what you're doing? Do you know who I am?" I know. For all the years we've known each other. Please help me." I rubbed against her. "Anna, please help me." But the woman in front of me stood motionless, her cold gaze fixed on me. I struggled to maintain some shred of rationality and wobbled off her. "Forget it. I'll go find another." Before I could finish, my neck was gripped. Anna's head rested against mine, and she looked at me dangerously. "Who are you going to find?" "Willow." The next second, a pair of cold lips pressed against mine. A loud explosion rang in my head. It felt like my body had exploded. I'd never experienced anything like it before. I picked her up and tossed her onto the bed, back and forth, over and over again. I had never felt such bliss, especially when I saw the tears in her eyes as she looked at me. I was on the verge of exploding. Ugh, I regret it. If I had known this would feel so good, I should have clung to her sooner. Chapter 18. When I woke up, I had to admit that I had spent 2 whole hours on Anna. Seeing her look of both embarrassment and anger, I just couldn't help myself and pulled her in for 3 rounds. It wasn't until the end, when her eyes welled up with tears, that I stopped. Had I not sensed her anger, I might have kept going. I lay contentedly on the bed, holding her tenderly. "Are you awake?" Anna had already regained her senses. I couldn't help but blush, slowly sitting up, my suit all wrinkled. Anna looked at me expressionlessly, her eyes cold with killing intent. "So, what happened?" I also felt wronged. If I hadn't run into Anna today, but another woman, the consequences would have been unimaginable. At this thought, I spilled everything that had happened at the banquet, almost like pouring beans out. Then, I saw Anna smile. Her smile was often a sign of something bad for whoever had angered her. As the banquet was nearing its end and everyone had drunk enough, I changed into a nondescript dress and stayed in a corner, unnoticed. Madam, I just saw Master Martin go into Master George's resting room." A loud shout nearly made me drop the cake I was holding. Looking closely, wasn't that the servant who had led me earlier? The little servant was clearly panicked. "Master Martin warned me not to tell anyone, but Master George is still inside." So I hurried to inform Madam. Martin, infamous for being a playboy, was skilled in everything from drinking to gambling. Most importantly, he was bisexual. "This is outrageous. How dare they do such filthy things in my Lou family?" Madame Lou waved her hand dramatically, full of righteous indignation, leading everyone toward the guest rooms. I quietly followed at the end of the line, and that's when I spotted my mother sneaking along. I shot her a look. "Where have you been?" She sneered. "I've been looking for you for 2 hours. Almost thought you were really lost." Feeling guilty, I turned my gaze away. I couldn't exactly say that Anna and I had been together for 2 hours, could I? By the time we reached the guest room door, before it was opened, we could already hear moans from inside, getting louder. Everyone in the group had seen their fair share of things, so they quickly covered their mouths, whispering to each other. Madame Lou feigned confusion and loudly asked, "Is it really Master George in there?" The servant immediately replied, "Yes, it's really Master George. Master Martin has already gone in. Should we inform Madam that he's bullying Master George?" Some gossips quickly covered their mouths and whispered, "This isn't bullying. It's probably mutual consent. The son of a nouveau riche is really no good, doing such dirty things at someone else's banquet. So uncouth." Ahem. Madame Lou cleared her throat twice to stop the chatter. "This is my Lou family's banquet. I absolutely won't allow anyone to tarnish the old house. Break down the door." The little servant, eager to show loyalty, rushed up and forcefully shoved the door open. A pungent smell immediately hit everyone's faces. The crowd recoiled, gasping in shock. My God, how can they be so shameless? Sleeping together in someone else's house. It's such a shame. Such a beautiful woman. And she ends up with Martin. How embarrassing. If this happened in my house, I'd rather hang myself. Didn't Master George already promise Miss Sue? Does Miss Sue know how wild he's been? In the middle of the empty room, two naked figures were entangled, lost in their passion, completely unaware that they were exposed to the gazes of everyone. Madame Lou raised her hand to hide the smile at the corner of her mouth. Let's not be too hasty. Maybe Master George and Master Martin are mutually in love. What's going on? I slowly walked up from the back of the group, innocently looking at Madame Lou. I was too far away, didn't hear clearly. What were you all saying? Chapter 19. What are you doing here? Madame Lou gasped in shock, her eyes instinctively darting towards the room. Madame Lou, that's a strange question. If I'm not here, where should I be? I looked at her with an innocent and confused expression. I just felt the air in the room wasn't good, so I went for a walk in the yard. Why is everyone gathered here? At this moment, the onlookers also realized something was wrong. I was here, but who was inside? When Madame Lou saw who was in the room, she staggered backward in shock, her face pale, and she screamed in terror. Get out, everyone. Get out of here. The servant's legs gave out, and she collapsed to the ground, her eyes wide with terror. Shocked exclamations filled the air. The illicit scene in the room had been interrupted, and the two inside slowly regained their senses. Staring at each other in shock, Willow grabbed a bathrobe from nearby and wrapped herself up, completely disregarding Makoto beside her. She lost control and yelled, get out, all of you. The servant's legs gave out again, and she slumped to the floor, crying, shouting, and cursing. It was a chaotic scene at the Lou family estate that night. The news from the Lou family estate quickly spread throughout the high society. My own mother, leading the way to see the joke of my former fiancé, ended up catching her own daughter and current fiancé in bed together. Willow, unable to vent her fury, directed all of it at Madame Lou. Had it not been for her bringing so many people with her, how would she have been so thoroughly humiliated? She had completely forgotten that this whole thing had been a plot they'd set up themselves. Madame Lou had schemed against me, trying to use Martin to frame me, but Willow thought I was her man, and Martin wasn't worthy of touching me. So, she sent him away and took the stage herself. But unexpectedly, not only did I escape, I ended up nearly killing her. Coincidentally, Anna's people knocked out Makoto and sent him over. The two of them were locked in a room with drugs, and in full view of everyone, they did everything. I heard that things got pretty intense at the Lou family estate that night. Makoto returned to the Ito family crying, only to be sent back to the Lou family by them. Both Makoto and Willow became the laughingstocks of the whole circle. As the wedding date drew closer, news of the Lou family and Ito family's union flooded the internet. A golden couple, a match made in heaven, separated due to a misunderstanding, and then reunited in a passionate romance, and so on. Various messages were released, gradually rehabilitating Willow and Makoto's images. The two of them didn't stir up any more trouble. Meanwhile, my family had reprinted my wedding invitations with Anna. Whoever the Lou family invited, we invited as well. The venue was still the same hotel from before, but our family rented the adjacent plaza, much larger and more impressive. After the Lou family banquet, Anna had to leave City A for something, but the gifts she had prepared continued to be sent every day. Sending gifts from the bride's side shows respect for the groom, while the groom's dowry represents his future standing in the family. My father, with a stern face, was negotiating fiercely with her, offering half of the Wong family's assets as my dowry. Had I not stopped him, my father probably would have written my name on the Wong family's property right then and there. If Willow saw this, her eyes would probably fall out, and she'd be on her knees begging for reconciliation. George, look, the wedding dress has arrived. My mother joyfully entered with several people. They were holding a huge air cargo box and carefully removed the wedding dress, which was wrapped in layers of cotton gauze. This dress had been specially retrieved from the Sue family's treasure vault and airlifted back by private plane. Due to the difficulty of applying for the flight route, it had just arrived at this time. My mother gently caressed the wedding dress with awe in her eyes. I've heard this wedding dress is over 300 years old, and it's been preserved so well. Chapter 20. The tailor in charge of the wedding dress adjusted the hem and then, with admiration in his voice, said, "This wedding dress has been carefully preserved. Only the heir can wear it during their wedding. In fact, no more than 5 people have worn it. Mr. Sue is absolutely serious about your marriage." I shifted uneasily, feeling like a heavy stone was pressing down on my chest, making it hard to breathe. We had agreed it would only be a fake marriage, so why did Anna bring out the true family heirloom? I couldn't handle this. My mother furrowed her brows and looked at me. "Why are you squirming? The wedding is almost here." I was wearing a simple white undergarment and awkwardly said, "I need to go to the bathroom." My mother's eyes widened, her finger trembling with anger. "At this time, you better hold it in." The tailor quickly stepped in to smooth things over. It's normal for the groom to be nervous on such an important day. Should I accompany the groom to the bathroom? A bit of fresh air might help. No need. No need. I'll go by myself. I quickly waved my hand and grabbed my phone, rushing out. I really did need to go to the bathroom. My parents were incredibly satisfied with Anna as my bride now. If they found out it was a fake marriage, my life might be in danger. I had gotten so nervous that I drank a lot of water. The hotel my family rented was located right in front of a large plaza. To get to the bathroom, I had to go to the hotel's first-floor lobby. As soon as I entered, I saw some of the Lou family members posing for photos at the door. "Hey, isn't this George, the groom from today's wedding?" A friend of Makoto's noticed me immediately and loudly shouted, "Why aren't you wearing your wedding suit? Are you regretting it and thinking about getting back with Willow?" Immediately, all the eyes of the Lou family's relatives turned to me. Makoto, wearing a custom suit with layers of makeup, was posing for photos with Willow. Upon hearing this, he immediately started speaking in a teasing tone. "Willow, do you regret marrying me? If you want to get back together with George, I won't stop you, as long as you're happy." "Absolutely not." Willow immediately held Makoto's hands passionately. "You're the man I love most, and I'll marry no one but you in this life." Then she shot a disgusted look at me. "George, even if you regret it now, it's too late. I'll never give you the chance to regret." I sneered and pointed at the sign behind them. "Excuse me, you're blocking the way. Is the bathroom's feng shui better over here?" Everyone's crowded by the restroom door. Willow's expression darkened, but she quickly calmed her friend who was about to lash out. "Don't let irrelevant people disturb our important day." Makoto was immediately soothed, smiling happily as he returned to focusing on the photo shoot. When I came out of the bathroom, I found Willow waiting outside. Makoto and his friends had already left, probably to make preparations. Willow eyed me up and down with a smug look on her face. "Are you really going to marry that cripple to spite me?" "George, I admit I'm jealous." "Cancel the engagement." I looked at Willow in shock, my face full of the "what nonsense are you talking" expression. Willow thought she had hit the mark and took another step toward me. "George, don't you know how I feel about you? It's just that your family has no power. While Makoto is the son of the Ito family, he can help me completely take control of the Lou family. If I marry you, I'll need 5 more years to fully control the Lou family. But with Makoto's help, everything will be different. George, can't you just be patient with me? Do I have to admit that I care about you before you'll understand? That cripple, what's the use? He's going to sit in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. He can't even buy you a decent wedding dress, and the wedding venue is only in a plaza." Chapter 21. Willow took step after step toward me, her movements flirtatious as she tried to lift the hem of my clothes. "George, come back to me. I can give you anything you want." I quickly took 3 steps back and shouted, "Don't come any closer." I looked at Willow in shock. "Does Makoto know how shameless you are?" "He won't know." "George, give me 1 year. After 1 year, I'll divorce him and marry you instead. Will you accept me then?" Willow kept pushing forward, her attention entirely focused on me, completely unaware of Makoto suddenly appearing behind her. A malicious gleam flashed in my eyes, and I deliberately looked at Willow with feigned surprise, asking, "How do you plan to divorce him?" "I'll first use his family's power to take full control of the Lou family, and then I'll use the Lou family to swallow up the Ito family. This way, I'll be the unrivaled ruler of City A, and you'll be the exalted master of the Lou family. No one will be able to call you the son of a nouveau riche anymore." Looking at Willow's suicidal words, I shook my head and said, "How could old Mr. Lou raise such a filthy thing? Even animals are better than you." With that, I raised my foot and kicked Willow hard in the stomach. She screamed and fell to the ground, twitching. "George, you've gone crazy. You're the one who's crazy." I raised my foot and kicked her again, causing Willow to howl in pain on the floor. Fear gripped her heart once again, and she shivered uncontrollably. "You're going too far. I won't take you back even if you regret it later." "Willow, Willow, are you okay?" Makoto immediately rushed over, gently lifting Willow up. His eyes filled with anger as he glared at me. "How could you hit someone?" I stared at Makoto in shock. "Did you hear the nonsense she just said?" Makoto glared at me in fury. "Of course I heard. Willow already told me she was just lying to you. She doesn't want that crippled bastard to have a good life. Can't she see what kind of person she is? And she still wants to fight for the Lou family with Willow. As long as you run away from the wedding, that cripple will be humiliated. Let's see what he can do to compete with Willow." I could still tell the difference between Willow's words and her true intentions. Marrying me was a lie, but swallowing the Wong family was the truth. What surprised me even more was that Makoto was so dumb to believe Willow's nonsense. I couldn't help but laugh. "You two are such a perfect match. Make sure to stay locked together. Never break apart. I'm telling you, even if you like Willow, Using that crippled bastard to provoke her won't work. Willow's one true love will always be me. Makoto arrogantly warned me. If you dare to seduce Willow again, I'll make sure your entire family regrets ever being in City A. I couldn't help but laugh. The last person who threatened my entire family was Madame Lou. I looked at Makoto curiously, wondering who gave him the courage. I'm really curious. How exactly do you plan on dealing with my whole family? Do you know about Galaxy Group? Makoto said, looking at me with pride. The president of Galaxy Group is a close friend of my dad. She came back to the country specifically to attend my wedding and discuss cooperation with our family. We're about to open up the international market. I looked at Makoto in shock. Galaxy Group? Are you sure? Is it the same Galaxy Group I know? Makoto looked at me longingly. Speaking of which, the president of Galaxy Group is also named Wong. But this Wong is from a super family in Country W. Galaxy Group, founded by their patriarch, is renowned internationally. He then sneered at me. People like you, nouveau riche, will never reach that level no matter how many lifetimes you live. I nodded, confirming it. It was indeed the Wong I knew. Chapter 22. Alicia was indeed returning to her home country today. After all, it was my wedding, and if she didn't come, my dad would probably beat her to the point she couldn't get out of bed. Our family is fiercely protective, and the Lou and Ito families had already caused us so much shame, constantly stirring up trouble. If Alicia didn't take care of them, it would be a wonder. How had she become such good friends with the Ito family again? Willow, Makoto, Madame Lou ran over from the side with a tense look. Hurry up, Mr. Wong's car is almost here. Willow and Makoto immediately rushed outside. Ignoring everything else, I lifted my foot, about to watch the drama unfold, when my mother suddenly rushed over, grabbed me by the arm, and said urgently, "You're walking into a trap. Hurry up. Time's almost up." "No, Alicia's here," I begged, grabbing my mom. "That's Alicia, the ruthless, merciless Alicia." I wanted to watch the drama unfold. My mom sneered and dragged me toward the tent. "Even if the King of Heaven is here, you can't waste time." As soon as I got back to the tent, someone quickly draped the antique wedding dress over me, and I was immediately pushed in front of a mirror. The makeup artist, with a large brush, started applying makeup to me. In the midst of all the chaos, I really did feel like I was about to marry Anna. "Little Mr. Wong, you finally arrived." Willow and Makoto arrived at the hotel's main entrance and saw Mr. Ito standing next to a beautiful 20-year-old woman, bowing and flattering her. Willow couldn't help but pause. This person looked so familiar. "Willow, come here." Mr. Wong quickly called Willow over, his face full of obsequiousness. "This is the young Mr. Wong from Galaxy Group I've been telling you about. He's only 20, yet he's managing Galaxy Group with great success." Willow immediately bent down, extending her hand to the young Mr. Wong. "Young Mr. Wong, hello, I'm Willow." The young Mr. Wong looked Willow up and down, a meaningful smile forming on his face. "I've heard a lot about you, Miss Lou. Now that I see you in person, you truly are extraordinary." Willow felt uncomfortable. The person in front of her was several years younger, yet spoke to her as if they were an elder. But as soon as she thought about the power of Galaxy Group, she quickly forgot that discomfort. As long as she could climb up to Galaxy Group, the entire Lou family would rise to the next level, and becoming the wealthiest family in the country would not be impossible. This was the very reason she had abandoned George and endured the idiocy of Makoto. Willow lowered her head and bent at the waist. "It's an honor to be remembered by you, young Mr. Wong." Mr. Wong, eager to boost his own image, had invited a number of reporters to capture the wedding, and now they were taking pictures of the conversation between young Mr. Wong and Willow. Some reporters even started live-streaming the interaction. After all, the president of Galaxy Group, a globally renowned billionaire, wasn't someone they could easily meet as ordinary citizens. Mr. Wong watched the scene with a smile, already envisioning the rise in stock prices for the Wong Group tomorrow. Both of them had their own agendas, when suddenly, a sneer was heard from above. "Of course I've heard of her. I traveled thousands of miles from abroad just to see what the woman who abandoned my second brother and dragged the Wong family's name through the mud looks like." Young Mr. Wong looked Willow up and down. "She doesn't seem that impressive." "Your brother?" Willow froze. "Young Mr. Wong, your second brother is?" Young Mr. Wong chuckled. "Of course, you don't know who my second brother is. Otherwise, you wouldn't have abandoned him. Otherwise, you'd be the second daughter-in-law of Galaxy Group." Willow stood frozen, struck like she had been electrocuted. Chapter 23. "No, impossible. I don't believe it." Willow screamed frantically, shaking her head. "The Wong family is just a bunch of nouveau riche, and George is the son of a nouveau riche. How could he possibly be?" With a few sharp sounds, several luxury cars pulled up outside the hotel. An elderly man, dressed in a tang suit, stepped out of one of the cars, followed immediately by a group of bodyguards. The old man saw young Mr. Wong standing by the door and immediately waved his bodyguards away, walking over with a smile. "Young Mr. Wong, I don't know what your father was thinking. Coming all the way to this small place, the driver had to circle the area twice before finding the road. Young Mr. Wong nodded politely. I didn't expect Mr. Law to be the first to arrive. Please. My parents have been waiting for you. They're taking the long way around. Mr. Law patted young Mr. Wong's shoulder. I didn't expect you three, but it seems George will be the first to marry. You better catch up. Mr. Law, you're joking. My older brother is still ahead. Alicia, without even sparing a glance at Willow, walked side by side with the elderly man toward the outdoor plaza. Mr. Wong stood frozen in place, muttering under his breath. Mr. Law, he's the chairman of TNC Group. He actually came in person. At that moment, a blonde woman wearing a straw hat, a floral shirt, and a Hawaiian beach skirt walked over. She stopped a passerby and awkwardly asked in broken Mandarin, "Excuse me, can you tell me how to get to George and Anna's wedding venue?" The passerby casually pointed. "Over there, in the outdoor plaza." "Thank you." The blonde beauty gave a gentlemanly bow and then headed toward the plaza. She immediately saw Alicia and Luis and waved enthusiastically. "Hi, George and Mr. Law." Mr. Law turned around in surprise and looked at her. "Did you just return from a vacation in Africa?" "Haha, I was on vacation, and I only got the invitation yesterday," the blonde beauty complained. "If I didn't come, young Mr. Wong would have killed me." The blonde beauty walked alongside them. "They brought so many people. The road was packed with cars, so I got out and walked over." She looked a bit sour. "I didn't expect young Mr. Wong to marry someone else." "Oh, I'm heartbroken. Sophia, my brother doesn't look at people like you." Alicia sized the blonde beauty up. "You have too many male friends." "Aha." A nearby photographer suddenly screamed. "That's Miss Sophia. She's the president of Blair Group." The three top tycoons on the billionaire list casually chatted as they walked toward the plaza. "Excuse me, could you tell me where the Su and Wong family wedding is?" Another top tycoon surrounded by bodyguards held a gilded invitation in his hand. Over there." The reporters, already in shock, were now too stunned to speak, only screaming one after another. Top tycoons who only appeared in magazines were asking for directions, holding an invitation that looked so old-fashioned it might as well have been from another century. The first reporter to react immediately called their editor-in-chief. "Editor-in-chief, Mr. Law, Miss Sophia, Mr. David, they're all here. What are you talking about?" The editor-in-chief was about to attend the Lou family's wedding when he received the call, looking confused. "Aha, that's Miss Joan. Joan, Miss Bruce," the reporters screamed, and the editor-in-chief's phone fell to the ground. She hurriedly picked it up, panicked. "Who did you say? Who did you just say?" The reporter yelled with all their might. "Wong. It's that Wong from Galaxy Group." The editor-in-chief stood frozen. The next second, she jumped up. "Quick, get me the Wong family's invitation. I'm going to their wedding. All pages, all of them. Print this, the man abandoned by the Lou family. Turns out, it's him." Chapter 24. The entire high society of City A received notifications from all directions, with the search for Wong family invitations happening everywhere. On this day, every garbage truck in the city was thoroughly searched. Those who found their invitations laughed joyfully, while those who didn't were filled with despair. The hotel where George and Anna's wedding was being held was surrounded by a massive crowd, completely packed. "Really? I have an invitation. I just lost it by accident. Let me in to say a few words. Mr. Wong will definitely let me in." "Me too. Me too. I was at the Wong family's door when George gave me the annulment letter to read. I have a connection with Master George." The security guards at the entrance, with expressionless faces, blocked everyone from entering and said, "Without an invitation, no one can enter." "I have it. I have the invitation," someone shouted, holding up their invitation high, attracting a sea of jealousy. Even if it was torn, even if it looked like it had been dug out of a trash can, it was still an invitation from the Wong family. The Ito family and Lou family watched their empty banquet halls. Mr. Ito's legs gave way, and he collapsed to the ground, saying, "It's over. It's completely over." Willow tightly clenched her fists, her face dark as she stood to the side. Suddenly, Mr. Ito grabbed Willow, pulling her up in a panic. "Didn't you say the Wong family was just a bunch of nouveau riche? How did they turn into the old Mr. Wong and the second young master of Galaxy Group? It's over. Ito family is done for." Willow snapped back to reality, rushing toward the plaza in disbelief. "George, I regret it. It was Makoto, that bastard, who seduced me. I love you the most." Makoto stood frozen, not believing what he was hearing, and chased after her. "Willow, what did you say?" "Willow." But Willow couldn't make it in. She was stopped by security before she could even get close to the plaza. No matter how much she screamed, she couldn't get through. Meanwhile, I was unaware of all this. I had changed into my wedding attire and stood at the start of the red carpet. The guests were already seated, with top billionaires, famous international stars, and even a few regular people scattered among them. The applause echoed, and I thought I heard Sophia's voice crying out in the distance. Under the gaze of everyone, Anna walked toward me, holding a bouquet of bright red roses. Anna's legs had been in treatment, and she was just a step away from full recovery. It was the words from my father that had spurred her to take the final step. She walked up to me and lifted the bouquet. George, from the moment I saw you, I was deeply drawn to you. That snowy night, I climbed into your car, thinking if I were to die, the last person I wanted to see was you. She gazed into my eyes. I couldn't accept your request for a fake marriage, because I, Anna, only accept death apart. I absolutely cannot accept separation in life. You are my one true love. George, will you marry me? Will you be my one and only wife for life? I stared at Anna in shock, feeling my heart slowly start to burn with warmth. Fake marriage? My father, standing below, spoke in a voice that sounded like it was squeezed through his teeth. George. I jumped in shock and quickly stepped forward to take the bouquet from Anna. I do. I will marry you. My mother held my father back, who was seething with anger. I could hear his furious shouts from a distance. George, you better explain yourself. What do you mean by fake marriage? Chapter 25. I really did marry Anna. There's no fake about it. Since the moment she revealed the truth about our fake marriage, I've been hiding at the Sue family's house for half a month, not stepping outside the front door, afraid my parents would catch me, breaking my legs. Since the wedding night, Anna seemed like a different person, constantly clinging to me from morning till night. This woman's legs are better now, and she's non-stop clinging to me every day without any restraint. Finally, when she went out for business, I sneaked out quietly, wanting to get some fresh air. Just as I stepped outside the villa, before I could take a stroll, I saw a figure standing at the entrance, haggard and smelling foul, practically looking like a skeleton. She saw me and immediately lit up, quickly walking towards me and saying, George, you finally came out. I was startled. Why was Willow standing here? I stepped back 2 paces and couldn't help but cover my nose. What are you doing here? Willow, with red eyes, dropped to her knees at my feet. George, I know I was wrong. I really messed up. George, for the sake of our past, please, I beg you, forgive me. Forgive the Lou family. I'll do anything you want. Since the wedding day, the entire city's press had been mocking Willow for being blind and mistaking trash for treasure. Anna's true identity was exposed, and the Lou and Ito families had completely lost all ground. Without Alicia even lifting a finger, the opportunists quickly cut off the Lou family's financial lifeline. Now, Lou's partners were breaching contracts, and a huge amount of goods piled up in their warehouse. The penalty payments they received weren't enough to cover the cost of the goods, and Lou family was constantly surrounded by factories demanding payment. The bank refused to approve any loans, and Lou family was forced to sell assets. At this point, Anna found out that after old Mr. Lou's passing, Willow and Madame Lou had embezzled a large sum of the Lou family's public funds. Lou family became the most hated target. Everyone wanted to see them fall. When it became clear that Anna was the one pulling the strings behind Lou family's downfall, Mr. Ito fled faster than anyone else. Makoto was left behind at Lou family, unable to withstand their decline. He didn't dare imagine what would become of them. He took all the jewels from Lou family's safe and ran. When Willow found herself at the end of the line, she thought of me again and was prepared to sell herself to me. Willow, in desperation, kneeled at my feet. George, I was wrong. I really was wrong. I shouldn't have been so deluded. It was all Makoto's fault. He seduced me, and I made the wrong choice. Please forgive me. I'll be your mistress. I'll do anything you ask. George, you still love me, don't you? I stepped back, dodging Willow's filthy hands. How dare she have the audacity? Before I could curse her, a delicate hand wrapped around me from behind, and I fell into a familiar embrace. Anna gave a cold laugh, looking at the woman kneeling on the ground. Miss Lou, you've come to offer yourself to my husband's bed. It seems like the Lou family isn't done falling yet. Willow tried to speak, but just then, a police car pulled up beside us. Several plainclothes officers got out and showed Willow an arrest warrant. Willow, we suspect you're involved in the murder of Mr. Pablo. Come with us. No, it's not me. I had nothing to do with it. Willow panicked, turning to run, but she was pinned to the ground. She reached out to me in desperation. George, help me. It really wasn't me. It was my mother, not me. You should be calling her uncle now. Anna tightly held on to me, looking down at the pinned Willow. It's me who's been dealing with the Lou family. I'll find every single person who's wronged my mother, and you're the first. Chapter 26. Although I had suspected the cause of old Mr. Lou's death, seeing Willow like this still made me feel a deep chill. At this point, Willow still refused to repent, shouting, "It wasn't me. It was her who framed me. Go arrest her." Anna sneered. "You still don't regret it, even when your end is near. The old man really was unlucky to meet someone like you. The things you and your mother did, I've already handed over all the evidence. The Lou family is finished, completely finished." Willow immediately collapsed in despair, eventually being forced into the police car. Anna dragged me back to the room and pushed me down onto the bed. She looked down at me from above. Do you still like her? I immediately felt a shiver run through my body, my back aching, my legs cramping up. I shook my head frantically, showing Anna my loyalty. Of course not. Willow is just trash. How could she compare to my wife? My wife is the most beautiful, the most powerful woman in the world. Really? Anna slowly started to undo my tie, unbuttoning my shirt one by one. She was like a seductive spirit, her knees pressing into the mattress, inching closer to me. With a cold laugh, she looked at me. Then why did you agree to marry her in the first place? Hearing this question, I couldn't help but roll my eyes internally. Since the wedding night, every single day she asked me the same question. After every answer, she'd torment me fiercely. With my poor back aching, I looked at Anna pitifully. It's because you weren't by my side. If it wasn't you, it wouldn't have meant anything to me. I was just settling for something. Ha! Anna's face darkened, her smile turning cold. I didn't know that the famous George would just settle. I quickly turned and ran for the door, thinking that if I ran fast enough, my back wouldn't hurt. The next second, I was harshly thrown back onto the bed, her soft body pressing against mine. Anna's voice, filled with danger, whispered in my ear, sending a chill down my spine. Run. Where do you think you can escape to? I stared at the crystal chandelier on the ceiling, feeling myself once again caught in an inescapable vortex. It wasn't uncomfortable, it was more than that. It was overwhelming. A bit too much. I don't know how long it lasted, but I was in a daze. Anna, however, seemed completely satisfied, resting in my arms with a refreshed expression. George, let's make a little George. That way, Mom and Dad won't break your legs when they see our little one. I snapped back to my senses, turned over, climbed on top of Anna, with a heroic expression on my face. What are we waiting for? Let's go. My parents had been waiting for me to come to them and apologize, but after 3 months, they still hadn't seen me. The more they thought about it, the angrier they got. Together, they stormed to the Sue family house, only to find Anna lying on the sofa, pale. While I knelt at her feet, I carefully looked at her. Anita, let's not have a child. Okay, as long as I have you, that's enough for me. Have a child. Why not? After we have a child, your parents won't break your legs. Anna rolled over and grabbed the trash can. Ugh, ugh. I quickly patted her back in concern. No children, no children. My mom pinched my dad, and he winced in pain. Then my mom suddenly jumped up. I'm going to be a grandma. My dad pretended to stay composed, but the excitement in his eyes was unmistakable. The Wong family was about to welcome a new addition.